Hey guys, it's me and welcome back. In this video I'm going to be trying out these glow-in-the-dark oil paints. The brand is called GLOWS, and so far it's the only company that I'm aware of that makes glow-in-the-dark oil paints. If you go on Amazon, you can find this paint in different sizes, 22, 37, and 170 mLs. There's a total of 19 different colors you can choose from, and there's even a chart that shows you what these GLOWS paints look like after being exposed to any bright light and even a black light. So I'm going to be testing out the colors Blue Mermaid and Magenta Tangerine. So the outside of the Blue Mermaid tube is stained. I'm not quite sure what that brown stuff is. It might have been oil that leaked out and dried up. But I did buy this paint well over a year ago. The Magenta Tangerine is actually a brand new tube. And you can buy these paints in a set that comes with a variety of colors. Or you can just pick the individual ones you like and pay $17.95 for each tube. So here's a card that came with the Magenta Tangerine. It's a thank you note from the creator of these paints. He even leaves his phone number in case you want to call him with any questions or concerns. On the back are some simple instructions on how to use these glow-in-the-dark oil paints. I'm opening up the tubes right now, and as you can see there's a little bit of oil spilling from the top. When I was reading the reviews on this glow paint, a couple of people had said they had mixed the paint with a toothpick, so that way when they squeezed out the paint it's not just a lot of oil coming out. I don't know what happened to my toothpicks, so I just snipped off the end of a Q-tip and mixed Blue Mermaid with that, because that tube seemed to have a lot of oil at the top, and the pigment or whatever it is was probably settled at the bottom, so yeah, I mixed it up. The Magenta Tangerine wasn't too bad, but you can see the consistency of both of these paints is like kind of watery. I mean, there's no water in it, but it just looks so thin and wet. Not the smooth creaminess usually associated with oil paints. Plus the texture has a bit of graininess to it, which might be the glow particles. I'm going to test these paints out on Strathmore canvas paper. One color is cream colored and the other is black. I only use this canvas paper for swatching because it's really not good quality canvas paper. It literally sucks the oil from the paint and makes it hard to blend. So I wouldn't recommend this paper for any real serious paintings you plan on doing. It's pretty much scrap paper for me. I'm swatching the GLOWS paint on both the black and white canvas paper. I'm applying the paint by itself as well as mixed with a walnut alkyd and opaque white. I also want to know what it looks like on white paper versus what it would look like applied over white paint. I actually messed up here. For the first white rectangle you see, I thought I was using a Zinc white, which is a transparent white. And I was like, that's a very opaque zinc white. Looks very similar to the titanium white. What happened was that I used Gamblin's titanium zinc white, and that particular white is opaque. I wanted to see how the glow paint looked mixed with an opaque white versus a transparent white, but I screwed up. I turned off my desk light, and now you can see how the colors look glowing in the dark. The Blue Mermaid looks great on the white paper, but the Magenta Tangerine looks just okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a black light, but here's what the swatches look like under a blue light. And as I said before, the paint is quite thin, so I'm thinking you would have to add more than one layer of paint just to create a bright glow. That may be possible on the white paper, but I'm on the fence about the black paper. But I must add that I really love the way the paint glowed on my palette. It looked kind of messy, but cool at the same time. Now I'm working on my painting, and I'm using Old Holland titanium white plus walnut alkyd to thin it out. I had this image of a nautilus in my head. Half of it was in the light, and the other half was in the dark. I would apply the glow paint, and when the lights were turned off, the nautilus would glow. And I could be wrong about this, but a couple years ago I went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium and they had a squid and nautilus exhibit there, and flash photography was prohibited, so I think cephalopods are sensitive to light, so that made more sense for me to paint a glow-in-the-dark nautilus. So while I'm painting this, I'm using different shades of white, a white scale if that makes sense. I want some areas of the nautilus to be an opaque white and other parts to be a more subdued white because this nautilus is in the dark. I wanted the nautilus to have form, to look a little three-dimensional, and I was really pleased with how this nautilus turned out when I was finished, and I'm glad I took a picture of it when I was done because once I started applying the glow cubed paint, well, the nautilus ended up looking something different, not quite what I had in my head. Now I'm going to share my final thoughts about this glow cubed oil paint in Blue Mermaid. I'm glad I didn't use the Magenta Tangerine with the Blue Mermaid because it would have been a little more frustrating for me. But after I started applying the glow-in-the-dark paint, I reluctantly had to make changes to my nautilus painting because the glow paint wasn't really glowing bright enough. I basically had to add more opaque titanium white, which made my nautilus look two-dimensional. Plus, the glow paint is transparent, and it's only going to have an intense glow if it's layered on top of a bright, opaque color. The glow cubed paint really does glow in the dark. I didn't take my painting outside, but I did shine a lamp on it, and the glow is very bright. I can't tell you how long the paint glowed. I wasn't really paying attention to that because I was increasingly frustrated with the application of the paint. Like I said before, the texture of this paint is quite grainy, and because of the amount of oil that was in the tube, it's also quite wet. It's like a watery cream of wheat. So when I started putting this on my nautilus painting with a paintbrush, it came out very streaky with a lot of ridges. I found it very difficult to spread and control. Some people might like seeing texture in an oil painting, but I wanted a smoother application. I wanted to be able to easily create layers and have the glow paint fade gradually into the background. I mixed the glow paint with Alkyd, but honestly I don't think it made a difference with increasing the drying time. Overall, these glow cubed paints are okay. You just have to experiment and discover the best way to use them for yourself. They're not suitable for what I need them for, but they were pretty fun to try. The streakiness and long drying time was something I just don't want to deal with though. And one more thing I want to add is that on the screen the Blue Mermaid looks blue, but in real life with the painting right in front of me, the Blue Mermaid color actually looks turquoise, which I don't mind because turquoise happens to be one of my favorite colors. But anyway, what do you guys think of glow cube oil paints? Is it something you're interested in trying? Have you used it before? What did you think? Do you like using fun oil paints like glow-in-the-dark paints or even neon oil paints? Or do you prefer just using traditional oil paints? Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.